The day I finalized my divorce, I booked a high-speed train ticket back to my hometown. All I had left were a phone, an ID card, and a bank card with a limited balance. Everything I owned after those years. The housekeeper called, saying I still had some items to collect. "Just throw them away. I don't need them," I replied. He then mentioned that the little master was crying for his mom. He'll have a new mom soon, the one he's always been thinking about. My son takes after his father, even in the women he loves. I used to be sad, wondering why it couldn't be me. Now I think, if he doesn't love me, then so be it. Before the train pulled away, I spoke my final words into the phone. Tell him not to worry. I'll never bother him again in this lifetime. After those final words, I turned off my phone and swapped the SIM card. From now on, this city meant nothing to me. Beside me sat a little girl, around my son's age, with huge round eyes watching me warily. I once loved children, but now nothing stirred my heart. She was quiet and well-behaved throughout the journey. It was her guardian who cursed loudly into the phone. I plugged in my headphones and closed my eyes, hoping for a nap. I lost track of time until a gentle tug on my sleeve woke me. I opened my eyes to her worried face. "Auntie, my mom is missing. Can you help me find her?" she asked, her lips pressed together. The aisle seat was empty. Confused, I summoned the conductor and the train police. Their investigation revealed her mother had disembarked at a stop along the way, casting fearful glances over her shoulder, afraid her daughter would follow. She had abandoned her. The carriage buzzed with strangers' judgmental whispers, calling the mother heartless, pitying the little girl. She sat motionless, neither crying nor protesting. I hesitated, then handed the train police my ID, leaving my home address and contact number. When I stepped off the train, besides my phone, ID card, and dwindling bank balance, I also had a child. I settled in my hometown and revived the neglected courtyard, planting fruits and vegetables. In the living room, I framed my grandmother's portrait and placed it in the center. I named the little girl Felisa, giving her my surname, Song. I completed the adoption paperwork and added her to my household registration. No longer was that book a solitary page. Felisa never smiled. Her expression remained solemn, her eyes wise beyond her 4 years. When I fell ill, she stood on a stool to cook porridge for me. I thought of my son, Benjamin, little master of the Zhang family, who received entire ski resorts as gifts and candy factories on a whim. They were worlds apart. One day, Felisa asked why I adopted her, calling herself a burden. I stroked her hair and said, "Because I was lonely. Will you keep me company?" She studied me quietly before nodding vigorously. "Okay, I'll stay with you forever." Days turned into months. Felisa started kindergarten, then elementary school. She became class monitor, and then, surprisingly, got into a fight. The teacher's call left me stunned. Felisa was obedient, mature beyond her years. She wouldn't glance at her classmates, let alone fight. I rushed to the school where the teacher, helpless, explained, "The girl she fought is a new transfer student." "Why?" I demanded. The teacher's strange look unsettled me. "Benjamin said Felisa tried to steal his mom." "What?" I froze. "The photo in Felisa's pencil case, your photo and hers," the teacher continued. "Benjamin saw it and called her shameless." I followed the teacher in silence to the office. "By the way, Benjamin's father is here," she added. I glanced at Felisa in the corner, calm as ever. Relief washed over me until I saw Benjamin screaming, tantrum in full swing. When our eyes met, he ran to me. "Mommy!" he cried. I bent down, gently pushed him away, and said, "You've mistaken me for someone else." I looked up to see Lawrence standing there. "Hello, sir. I am Felisa's mother." I didn't expect to see Lawrence again. The world is vast. If you don't wish to cross paths, you often don't. Benjamin sobbed, accusing me of abandoning him, while Felisa tightened her grip on her pencil. Lawrence watched me, silent, waiting. "Felisa," I said, packing her bag, "can you head home first?" She left with a decisive nod. Once she was gone, Benjamin wiped his tears and clung to my leg. "Mommy, I was wrong. Please don't be mad at me." I knelt, patting his head, then turned to Lawrence. "Mr. Jiang, can we talk privately?" There's little to recount about my past with Lawrence. My grandmother once saved his grandmother from a kidnapping. Ever grateful, the Jiang family sent us gifts each holiday. When I left for college, Grandma, too old to accompany me, asked the Jiangs to look after me. That day at the train station, I saw Lawrence leaning against a car, phone in hand, his presence dazzling me. Falling for him was as natural as breathing. We attended the same university and became acquaintances. I heard of his on and off romance with his childhood sweetheart. Sweet reunions, bitter quarrels. I was a spectator, often lost. In my third year, an internship far away meant long commutes. Once, Lawrence asked how I was. Days later, his grandmother offered me a vacant house near my company. I was touched and grateful. But guilt plagued me when I found Lawrence's life everywhere in that house. I stashed my belongings in the guest room until one night, after a late shift, I found a drunk Lawrence on the sofa. Worried he'd catch cold, I draped a blanket over him. Instead of gratitude, he pressed me down. Our terrible mistake. Memories of that night fade in fog. Our bodies protect us. Pain recedes. I've only ever been with one man, and he called another woman's name. Only once did Lawrence call me by my name. At our first meeting, he said, "Julia," and I replied, "Yes, I am." If life were love at first sight, why would autumn winds carry sorrow across painted skies? The campus was silent after classes. We stood in the corridor, green leaves rustling behind us. "Don't you want to talk privately?" he asked. "Say what you need to," I replied. He nailed me with his gaze. "What have you told Benjamin all these years?" I steadied myself. "We've been divorced 4 years. I've kept my promise, no appearances, and sent child support monthly." "Children forget," he argued. "Ben never loved you as his mother. If I hadn't reminded him, he'd have let go." I tilted my head. "Then why the transfer?" He begged to see me. Lawrence closed his eyes. I couldn't stop him. I studied him. It's fine. Once his expectations shatter, he'll return. I've never been liked. Time will show him I'm real, an annoying mother who can only lower his status. Back home, I opened a small restaurant, limited seats to manage alone. It became a hidden gem for tourists. At 18, I dreamed of millions in tech. At 28, I craved this tiny haven. Since Benjamin's transfer, a driver brought him daily. He was clever, only bratty on our first reunion. Lawrence rarely appeared. A driver accompanied Benjamin alone. I wondered why the Jongs trusted a boy alone in our remote town. I didn't send him back. He was my only blood. I sat by his fevered bedside for 3 sleepless nights and crafted toys, injuring my hands. People are selfish. I expected nothing. Yet I was hurt by his disdain. As a toddler, he clung to me. When he walked, he needed my arm. When tired, my shoulder. I endured cold glares at the Jiang mansion for him. But as he learned no, he drifted. Restricting candy became tyranny in his eyes. One day, he declared, "I don't want you as my mom. I want Aunt Miranda." Felisa asked if she could avoid Benjamin. She disliked him. "Of course," I said, curious. "Why?" "He hurt you," she replied. "You're always sad when you see him." I paused. He knows I'm sad, yet he keeps coming back. Lowering her head, she whispered, "Can I hit him?" "He's an adult," I said. "You can't." She thought, then asked, "Mom, can you send me to learn martial arts? I'll be strong. I'll protect you." I agreed. With dedication, she trained. The master said, "Felisa is tougher than many older students." I recalled Lawrence mocking my nose. "Who'd ever love you?" But Grandma loved me, Felisa loves me, and now I love myself. Lawrence visits occasionally. Travel-weary, he sits, orders food, and takes Benjamin home. Neighbors gossip. "Is he courting you?" They don't know he's my ex. I laugh. He's not blind. He's here for the child, not me. I used to wonder his motives, but now I don't care. His presence or absence means nothing. Sometimes I wonder when Benjamin will tire of winning his mother's favor. In our small town, no aquarium, no amusement park. He's been here nearly 3 months. They say the unreachable is precious. The colder I am, the more he clings. He often looks lonely when I hold Felisa's hand, or adjust her dress, or bring out a special dessert just for her. Yet he smiles sweetly when he catches my eye. Feelings shift desires. When I loved him, every frown broke me. Now, knowing his act, I feel nothing. His presence annoys me. I don't hate him. I simply don't like him. Early summer arrived, signaling school's end. That evening, Benjamin hadn't come to the restaurant. I assumed he'd given up the game and returned to privilege. But at home, I found him on the courtyard steps with a delicate cake box, and Lawrence beside him, gift bags in hand. Passers-by stared, but they focused only on us. "Dad, when will Mom be back?" Benjamin asked. "Soon," Lawrence replied. "We came to celebrate her birthday." "Will she be happy?" "She will." Benjamin's lips pressed together in a hopeful smile. Suit and tie, he shone, though sweat dotted his brow. Heat or excitement, I wasn't sure. Felisa strode forward. "You're wrong. Mom's birthday isn't today." "Liar," Benjamin snapped. "She and I share the same birthday." Lawrence rose, expectation flickering across his face. "Julia," he called awkwardly. "Happy birthday." I stepped forward, unlocked the gate, and said calmly, "I forgot. I changed my birthday. But that's a trivial matter, right?" I used to love birthdays. Grandma, though frail, adored celebrations. Every year, she'd prepare a feast, a cake, a gift. It was just us, yet it never felt lonely. When I went away, she flew across the country to be with me on my birthday. That year, I was in late pregnancy with Benjamin. I hid my discomforts, telling Grandma how caring Lawrence was, though he barely glanced my way. I understood. It was a mistake. I thought I could slip away, unnoticed. But instead, Lawrence tortured me through the night until his grandmother arrived with chicken soup. She cared nothing for our hearts, only for my honor. "Julia, I've told your grandmother about you and Lawrence. You don't want her to worry." She saw my pain. "You have feelings for him. He's a good man. Give it a chance." I hesitated, then learned I was pregnant. No choice remained. I endured morning sickness, swelling, cramps, despised by the Jiang family, hated by Lawrence, mocked by Miranda. Yet Grandma stayed until she witnessed Lawrence and Miranda's affection and suffered a heart attack. My resentment began then. Grandma, smiling an hour before, clutched my hand. An hour later, she was gone. At her bedside, Lawrence's grandmother slapped him for ruining my reputation. I stood mute, praying for news. When the lights went dark and the doctor emerged, saying goodbye, my world shattered. Grandma's final words echoed. What will you do if no one cares for you? Who will protect you? Lawrence knelt before her, vowing to care for me. With her last breath, she regretted entrusting me to the Jiang family. I screamed through labor, giving birth to Benjamin. In guilt, Lawrence kept his distance but cared for our son. Miranda left in heartbreak. I resigned myself to an unhappy marriage until Miranda returned, stealing attention and affection.